Hey Cowboys Nation, let's go for another round of news from America's team. Watch until the end so you don't miss any news and sign up to stay tuned for everything that comes out about the Cowboys.
Proposed trade has Cowboys landing two-time Pro Bowl running back. The Dallas Cowboys could still use some help at running back, which has prompted plenty of rumors about potential options. Pro Football Network's Dallas Robinson believes Arizona Cardinals' two-time Pro Bowler James Conner could potentially be available via trade. The Cardinals just selected former Florida State running back Trey Benson, which could make Conner a possible trade candidate. Dallas signed Ezekiel Elliott, but this should not prevent the franchise from making an additional move. The trade proposal has the Cowboys landing Conner in exchange for a 2025 sixth-round pick. Dallas failed to select a running back in the draft, instead reuniting with veteran Ezekiel Elliott on a one-year deal, Robinson detailed in a May 6 story titled 2024 NFL Trade Ideas. James Conner to Cowboys, Michael Mayer to Colts, and more post-draft moves. Elliott can no longer handle a full-time workload, while the rest of the Cowboys' RB options, Rico Dowdle, Deuce Vaughn, Royce Freeman, and others, are uninspiring. Conner is a three-down back who could become Dallas 1A, and the Cardinals might be willing to trade him after selecting Florida State RB Trey Benson in the third round, Robinson continued. While Conner almost always misses time with injuries, Elliott, Dowdle et al. Could fill in for a few games if needed. Arizona already paid Conner's March roster bonus, so he'd cost the Cowboys roughly $4.5 million in 2024. Arizona Cardinals running back James Conner is coming off one of his best statistical seasons. Conner is coming off one of the best statistical seasons of his career. The veteran posted 208 carries for 1,040 rushing yards and 7 touchdowns in 13 appearances in 2023. Conner averaged a career-high 5 yards per carry. The running back added 27 receptions for 165 yards and 2 TDs through the air. This was a loaded running back class in free agency, but Dallas opted to pass on veterans like Saquon Barkley, Derrick Henry, and Austin Eckler. This all goes back to the economics as the Cowboys prepare to sign stars like CeeDee Lamb, Micah Parsons, and Dak Prescott to contract extensions. Conner is heading into the final season of a 3-year, $21 million contract. The running back is slated to have a $4.2 million salary this season. Cowboys rumors. Dallas dropped a hint on potential trade in the coming months. Owner Jerry Jones hinted that the team could still find another running back via trade. This was prior to the Cowboys officially signing Elliott. "I've seen teams win the Super Bowl with running backs that they traded for midseason," Jones said during an April 27th press conference following the draft. So, the point is that this thing's a long way from being over as to how you're going to line up against X next fall. One player the Cowboys considered signing prior to Elliott is former Pro Bowler Dalvin Cook. Ultimately, Dallas opted to reunite with Elliott over Cook. In October, the Cowboys played a video montage for Ezekiel Elliott's return to AT&T Stadium when Patriots visited. The Dallas Morning News' Michael Gelkin explained in an April 29th message on X, "It wasn't over for them. It's still not over." Dalvin Cook also was discussed internally at length. Former Cowboys $10 million playmaker could land with NFC East rival, analyst says. The Dallas Cowboys offseason has featured more marquee departures than key signings, and one former defensive playmaker could bolt for an NFC East rival. Jaron Kearse, 30, could be an ideal fit to land with the Philadelphia Eagles. According to Patrick McAvoy of Sports Illustrated's All Eagles, he had a cap hit of just over $6 million last season. McAvoy writes of Kearse, and likely will find a deal in a similar range this offseason. Philadelphia needs some help at safety, and Kearse has plenty of experience already in the National Football Conference East. Safety is one of the Eagles' glaring remaining needs, and Kearse could be an ideal veteran upgrade alongside Chauncey Gardner-Johnson in what has become a rebuilt secondary this offseason via free agency in April's NFL Draft. After playing the last 2 seasons on a 2-year contract worth $10 million, Kearse could prove content to sign for closer to the veteran minimum for the opportunity to chase a Super Bowl ring in the Eagles' defense. Last season, Kearse posted 72 total tackles with 1 interception and 1.5 sacks, while Pro Football Focus points out he held opposing receivers to just 10.9 yards per reception when quarterbacks targeted him. What could make Kearse a strong fit for Eagles defensive coordinator Vic Fangio's scheme is the fact that he has plenty of experience playing linebacker and could be deployed in a joker-type role in Philadelphia. where Cowboys safety group stands. Even if Kearse winds up in Philadelphia or elsewhere, the Cowboys secondary could remain a strength again in 2024. Malik Hooker returns at free safety after producing 50 total tackles and intercepting one pass last season. He returns for the 2024 season with a cap number in the neighborhood of $3.99 million. Meanwhile, Donovan Wilson is penciled in as the Cowboys starter at strong safety, on the heels of an 88-tackle 2024 campaign where he also intercepted 2 passes, broke up 3 more, forced a fumble, and recovered 2 fumbles. Former 2021 6th-round draft choice Israel Mukuamu could fight with Wanya Thomas for the snaps left behind by Kearse if he is not on the roster come September. Defining stretch of Cowboys schedule revealed. In a lot of ways, this is a defining season for the Cowboys as constructed. When the 2024 campaign kicks off, there is a very real possibility Dak Prescott enters the season playing out the final year of his contract. And Mike McCarthy is already a lame duck head coach. It is possible that the only way both McCarthy and Prescott are back in Dallas in 2025 is if the Cowboys make a lengthy run at the Super Bowl in 2024. But as CBS Sports points out, the Cowboys' schedule for the coming campaign includes a bit of a landmine and a stretch of games with the potential to define the season. Although the Cowboys went 12-5 last season, all 5 of those losses came on the road, which isn't great news for a team that will get just 1 home game over a 6-week period starting in Week 4, John Breach writes for CBS. If the Cowboys don't fix their road woes, that stretch could end up being Mike McCarthy's undoing. That stretch of games is a gauntlet. From Week 4 through Week 11, the Cowboys travel to New York to take on the Giants, Pittsburgh to face the Steelers, return home for a showdown against the loaded Detroit Lions prior to the Week 7 bye week, and then return to the road at San Francisco against the 49ers, at Atlanta against the Falcons before hosting the retooled Philadelphia Eagles in Week 10. The following week, the reward for the grueling stretch is the Cowboys taking on the Houston Texans, who have legitimate Super Bowl aspirations. 5 of the Cowboys' 7 opponents from Weeks 4 through 11 made the postseason in 2024, and the Lions, 49ers, and Texans all won at least 1 playoff game. If the Cowboys can emerge from that stretch over .500, it could prove a catalyst for a late-season charge. Richard Sherman calls out Cowboys about lack of offseason moves. The Dallas Cowboys are always put under the microscope by the media. They always have these championship aspirations that never seem to come to fruition because of the moves that they don't make or the plays that they fail to make. Former Super Bowl champion and Seahawks legend Richard Sherman had this to say on The Volume about the Cowboys' offseason moves. "What the F are you guys doing? You have yet to pay the guys who play the best on your team," Sherman stated. Sherman goes on to talk about how the team is going to have to pay the likes of All-Pro wide receiver CeeDee Lamb, All-Pro edge rusher Micah Parsons, and All-Pro quarterback Dak Prescott. The problem is that these players aren't good enough to win a championship. Least, they aren't good enough to cover up the team's holes at other positions. Dak Prescott isn't Aaron Rodgers or Patrick Mahomes. CeeDee Lamb can only impact the game when he has the ball in his hands. Micah Parsons is a great player, but a great defense or defensive player can only do so much when the offense isn't good enough. If Jerry Jones elects to pay these guys soon, they will be strung up in terms of the salary cap. What's worse is that they will be strung up with a good roster, not a great one.